Retire on dividends and go way beyond the old-fashioned 4% rule. What financial advisors don't tell you. Hey guys, it's Doug, the retirement guy with all the monthly ETFs. This is probably one of the most popular questions I get on our Patreon side and a lot of our YouTube questionnaires. They first time looking at it, retiring on dividends, so many people don't understand it and they don't understand the whole package, but they all know the 4% rule because advisors have told them how to deal with it. So we're going to give you some insight on how to retire on the dividends, why you want to retire on dividends, and how we take it way beyond the 4% rule for you. We're going to help you out with this one. Before we do, we got to do a shout out to all of our Patreon and YouTube subscribers, and now all of our YouTube members. Those are the members who are supporting the channel. Welcome back. And if you're not part of it, don't be afraid. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification. All we're trying to do is help you grow your portfolio. Let's get into today's video. The traditional 4% rule, it's a common guideline that may not fit every investor out there. The conventional wisdom is always requires accumulating a substantial nest egg, like $900,000, and it uses a 4% withdrawal rate to generate $36,000 of annual income. Presented as a 30-year journey for the average person, it creates a fear of outliving your savings. So this is what many investors have done. Some advisory compensation models are asset-based, which can create different incentives. Ask about fees and conflicts so you understand how your advisor is actually paid instead of just them telling you, grow your fund, and then we'll do the traditional 4%. The 30-year journey is one of those things of, did you ever hear you work 30 years and then retire? Well, your year one you start off with, and then you get to your midpoint, and you're just trying to make ends meet, and you're putting money away, and then your last 2/3 is where you generate a lot of your money. So the traditional approach focuses on depleting your savings over 30 years, creating a system where you must carefully withdraw your principal and investments, increasing the risk of running out of money in retirement. This is not the best way I personally feel to retire, and this is not how many investors do it. The dividend machine alternative. This is what I brought to the table, and when I first brought this to my family, they all said I was nuts. They all said, "Where did you learn this from? What are you talking about? This is not the way you retire." And the dividend machine concept, it's focused on creating a passive income stream from dividend paying investments. You build a portfolio that generates enough income to cover living expenses, allowing the principal to remain untouched. Focus on wealth depreciation to continuous income generation. Offer a path to financial independence in a significantly shorter time frame. So the comparison down below, the traditional is versus the dividend machine, the approach, income source. Traditional, deplete your principal. The dividend machine is dividend income. The time frame, it takes over 30 years to build up these funds to live on that traditional, so you can live normally another 30 years at a controlled rate for long-term living. The dividend machine, you can really in about 10 to 15 years develop just enough income or investment to have the income to live off of. The risk, outliving your savings in the traditional way. The risk is the market volatility in the dividend machine. So how the dividend machine really works is you invest into principal. You invest into an account. When you take that investment, you reinvest the dividends. You're investing into dividend products, and you reinvest those dividends. So you're making money on top of money. And then you get income that gives you that passive cash flow over time. It's a snowball effect. Small initial investments grow substantially larger the more time you have. So this is the one I always like to do and how I explain it the best. It's traditional versus the dividend machine. So think of your money as this nice big tree. You put money away, you want to grow it, you fertilize it, you do everything to make this tree get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then all of a sudden you need money. You need money to live on. So what you have to do is you start cutting off limbs off your tree. And your tree starts getting more and more bare while you're waiting for it to grow back more limbs. So this is the traditional way. So you sell off parts of your tree, which is your investment, and you wait for it to grow back over the next year. Now, the dividend machine, what we do is we plant a different tree. We don't have to have trees as big. We don't have to have trees as tall. What we do is we plant trees like an apple tree that's going to grow a crop, which is your dividends. So that tree produces apples. And when you need money, what do? You go out and you pick apples off the tree. Now, in a lot of cases, the apples will fall right into your bucket for you, and you have apples right there to go spend. So you pick the fruit of your tree, like apples, which are classified as your dividends. Your tree stays strong and regrows apples, which again is your dividends, weekly, monthly, quarterly. So you're not waiting an entire year to get more limbs on your tree. You're waiting weeks, months, quarters to get more fruit on your trees so that you have more money to spend. Now, the nice thing about it is you can always still cut a limb off here, trim a tree here if you have some major needs. But you always have it regrowing more and more dividends. So start early. The core strategy is about compounding the income, the snowball effect. When dividends are earned and are invested into purchasing more shares, the new shares generate additional dividends. So it's a great idea if you think of it this way. If you're going to take those apples off the tree, you replant those apples, and what's going to happen? It's going to grow another tree, which is going to grow and produce more apples. So you're just multiplying your apple trees. Creates a powerful compounding cycle, and it shifts your focus from wealth depletion to continuous income generation. So strategic reinvestment methods, the automatic investment, what it's designed for, it all depends on the level and where you're at your stages of retirement. If you're younger and you're looking for, grow your portfolio, do automatic reinvestment. It's probably the best way to be. What it does is when a dividend is paid into your broker or from your broker, the broker will automatically rebuy the exact same fund almost instantly. So you'll see in your statement, you'll know dividend X, and then you bought 4 more shares or 10 more shares, whatever the number of shares would be, automatically, almost back to back. It's a handoff approach. It's done automatically. You don't have to think about it. It's the simplest thing I can tell you is to start and set it and forget it type system. It's for foundation building. It's focused on compounding from day one. So you're putting money in and buying select ETFs, you're buying select shares, and you're constantly rebuying, and compounding. The technical development, it's kind of a two things in one here. One is that if you're a little farther down the road or you follow the stock market more efficiently, this is the later phase. You collect the dividends as cash. You strategically deploy it by buying shares during market dips, or take the money and put it into other funds that you want to be a part of. And you want to maximize your returns acquiring shares at favorable prices. It's a little trickier than auto set because technical development, it needs a little bit more attention. You got to give it that little extra technique. You got to have a little strategic planning. And always, one thing I always warn out there for anyone doing this, don't try to time the market. You will never be able to time the market. So many people miss out. They're trying to time things and buy at the right time. So basically, it really is where you're at, the initial phases or automatic, and starting to do a transition where you're getting closer to it, when you can really start doing some strategic purchasing and distribution of the deployment. Now let's talk a little bit about a portfolio strategy. I put this together to give you an idea what the dividend portfolio could actually look like. Now, this is not set in stone. This is just a pure example of what could be done and how to allocate select funds. I chose to use just 5 ETFs, and there's a reason and a percentage for each and every one of them. The very first one is the NEOS NASDAQ 100 High Income ETF, QQQI. The allocation here is 30%. Its role is to give you income and growth potential. Because of the past performance of it, it gets that extra 30% of a distribution. The ProShares NASDAQ 100 High Income ETF, IQQQ, got allocation of 25%, and this gives you income with the potential of the stability. Then we go to TSPY, the TAP Alpha SPY Growth and Daily Income ETF. We put that one at 20%. It's a yield accelerator. We're trying to bump up our average yield of this portfolio. The next one would be the ProShares Russell 2000. We have nothing from Russell at all. So we have an S&P 500, we have a NASDAQ 100, NASDAQ 100. Now we have a Russell 2000. Now this is ITWO. We put that at 15%. One for the role of it is generate income. And then the last one is IHY. It's the VanEck International High Bond ETF. We put 10% into that because when you look at that fund, you have a nice balance of some potential growth and some potential income. So it puts it to a very nice mixture across the board. Now, using the current numbers as of today, 11/12/2025, and looking at just the basic numbers, which these things will change hourly, daily. So this is just for example purposes. The portfolio would give you about an average of 11.97% potential return of income, plus an additional between a 5 to 7% growth factor across the board. Now, these numbers are all just hypothetical. These are just pulled from the different websites and put into the information. So you do your own research to come up with your own portfolio, but gives you an idea how to lay this out, where you're looking for some growth, you're looking for some income, and then you're looking for some stabilization. You're not always looking at the highest possible yields. Now, the end goal is financial freedom. If you use the 4% rule, your portfolio value would be about $900,000 to get an annual income of $36,000 or monthly income of $3,000. The dividend side of it, or dividend rule, your portfolio value could be almost literally half of what your 4% rule is at $500,000. That would generate you $59,885, which would be gross dividends before taxes. Monthly income would be $4,990, take home passive income. Now, these numbers are all just examples. These things can change. It's all how your portfolio is built. So these are really just for example purposes only. So it just shows you the difference, what you can do. How do you change your portfolio? What do you do with the numbers. So just understand that this is just pure example that we go through. Talk to a financial advisor to find the exact package for you that fits the best. Unlike traditional retirement approaches, the strategy allows you to live off of dividends while leaving your principal untouched. It creates a potential of a income stream that can last possibly indefinitely, and give you true financial independence. But remember, you have to start early, and you have to find out what your income needs are, your risk tolerances, your dividend strategies. They all line up. So it really comes down to is can you live off of 300,000? Can you live off of 250,000? It all comes down to is what your strategies and what your cost of living is. But this is what the power of the dividend rule is. It allows you to do more with less. Now, implementation tips. Funnel all extra income. Direct salary raises into investments. I remember when I got my pay raise, what did we do? My cost of living went up. We spent it. We had more money, so we spent it. We didn't do it wisely. Allocate your bonuses to dividend assets. This is one I did learn. I had a job that we got paid quarterly bonuses, and they were bonuses to me. So I always took that money and put it into investments. Utilize tax refunds to boost a portfolio. Invest in side hustles. You earn money immediately. Maintain your discipline. Stick to your investment plans. Resist temptations without drawing principal. Continue investing during market dips, and focus on long-term goals. Start small if you need. Begin with only $500 monthly investment. If that's too much, do $100. This one I taught my daughter. She was going to work and she was stopping at Starbucks. Why, I don't know, but she stops at Starbucks every day. That's a $6 coffee. $6 times 5 is $30 a week. I told her if you took just half of that or made the coffee at home and invested that $30 every week, how much money that would generate. Automate small investments. Increase contributions with raises, and compound growth will accelerate over time. Rebalancing, adjust your allocations annually. Shift from automatic to technical as you get farther down the road. Acquire ETFs during market dips and maintain target allocations. All of this is extremely possible. The risk and considerations. I know it's going to be tough for you, but market volatility. The portfolio value fluctuates with market conditions. But remember the one thing I just told you. Set your plan, work the plan, stay on plan. Don't worry. And I show you the little graph here, and it's a great one that I like to use. Your market goes up, your market comes down. When you do an average across that board of that period of time, you'll find out your line is flat. That's what you're doing. You're planning for the flat line, and you're excited on the mountains, and you're upset in the dips, but ultimately you're hitting your platform across the board. The dividend cuts. Now that's something you're always watching. This is the fun thing about doing in dividend investing, is you're going to be watching the assets under management. You're going to watch the dividends on a fairly regular basis. You're going to become to know the stuff so well. But companies can reduce their dividends during downtimes and focus on quality dividend payers. Maintain a conservative withdrawal rates. Yield chasing, don't. Oh God, don't do it. High yield stocks often have higher risks. And so that's the gamble. If you want higher yield, you're going to take a lot higher risks. But so many people chase yield, and that's the wrong way to do. If you want to chase something, chase total return. And then commitment and requirements. Success requires discipline and time. We'll say a 10-year time frame can change the world. Consistent investing and strategic reinvesting is what this is all about. I hope this helped you guys. Let me know in the comments below, and we'll see you shortly.